Hello, and welcome to the Texas Rex Educational Series. This session is being recorded and will be posted on the texasrex.org webinars page if you want to review the content or share the information with your friends and colleagues. Our speaker today, Cassidy Phillips, will be speaking about audits, pre- and post-payment audits. All attendees have been muted to block out background noise. If you have questions for our speaker, please post them in the chat block of the GoToWebinar pane. Your questions will be read to the presenter at the end of the presentation. If we are unable to answer your question during the allotted time, you will receive an answer via email. First, some information about our speaker. Cassidy Phillips is an outreach coordinator for the Central East Regional Extension Center. She has been with Central East for 3 years assisting clients with meaningful use and more recently, meaningful use audit support services. She earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Emergency Administration and Planning from the University of North Texas and is currently enrolled in the Education for Healthcare Professionals graduate program at Texas A&M University. Thank you for joining us, and I will now turn over the webinar to Cassidy Phillips. Cassidy, the presentation is yours.
Veronica?
Yes?
Wonderful. Thank you, Veronica. I'm Cassidy Phillips, as Veronica said, and I am an outreach coordinator with the Central East Regional Extension Center. I wanted to start by going over our agenda briefly. We're going to talk about the auditors, both auditors for the Medicare and the Medicaid EHR incentive programs, what to expect if you are audited, the documentation you'll need in preparation for an audit, and the consequences, or what happens if you do happen to fail an audit, and then, of course, how the regional extension centers can help you. If you are audited, or if you've participated in the Medicare EHR incentive program and you receive an audit, that notice will come from Figliozzi & Company. They are the designated contractor performing audits on behalf of CMS and will perform audits on eligible professionals and eligible hospitals, as well as hospitals that are dually eligible for both the Medicare and the Medicaid EHR incentive programs. If you are a participant in the Medicaid EHR incentive program, the Texas Health and Human Services Commission has contracted with the CPA firm of Davila, Bushhorn & Associates to conduct those audits on behalf of the state of Texas. If you are audited in the Medicare EHR incentive program, you will receive a request, a letter for information to support the documentation that you had uploaded when you attested originally to the Medicare EHR incentive program. That notice will come directly from Figliozzi & Company, and it will be sent automatically by the audit contractor from a CMS email address and will include the auditor's contact information, and that's who you should contact in regards to what you will be uploading and any questions that you might have. The email address that you as the provider provided when you attested is the email during your registration, is the email address that they will send all documents and requests to. At that point, you'll have 2 weeks to get the submitted documentation to them. If you're in the Medicaid EHR incentive program, you'll have 10 days to respond to that notice, and your notice of audit will come directly from Davila, Bushhorn & Associates. You can get an extension if you contact them and request one. They'll usually give you a week to 2 weeks of an extension if you need additional time to gather that information. Okay, if you happen to receive an audit on AIU, which is the first year in the Medicaid EHR incentive program, and you could potentially get this audit after you attested to AIU but before you were paid, or up to 6 years after your AIU payment is received. If you do get that audit, it's about a five-page questionnaire requesting certain general information to support your attestation, such as proof of possession, such as maybe a licensing agreement, a contract, or other documentation that shows you've actually purchased or upgraded to a certified EHR. They'll want documentation that you provide 50% of your services at a certain location. If you're an EP who happens to practice across multiple locations, they'll want to know where you see the majority of your patients, where 50% or more of your services are rendered. They'll also want documentation that 80% of the records that you had during that reporting period were maintained in the EHR. And you can do that by providing a total of the encounters that you had during the reporting period, and then a total of the appointments that you had in the reporting period. They're also going to want to see your patient volume report. As you know, to be eligible for the Medicaid incentive program, you had to see 30% Medicaid encounters or 20% if you're a pediatrician. And so they'll want some documentation that that was the case for you. So you'll want to upload that patient volume report, which I believe you're having to upload already when you attest. If you participate in meaningful use and you're audited on a meaningful use program year, whether you're in the Medicare or the Medicaid incentive program, they'll also want that general information, the proof of possession, the 50% services provided, the patient volume report, and the documentation. So it's the same information. They'll also want a little bit more. They're going to want some supporting documentation. So this is for the Medicare or the Medicaid incentive program. Ideally, this information would come from a report within the EHR. So we'll start with the Meaningful Use Core and Menu Objectives reports. These are reports that you will generate from your certified EHR. Because some EHR systems are unable to generate reports from prior time periods, providers are going to want to download or copy or print a copy of the report they used at the time for their attestation for their records. In the event that you can't go back and regenerate the same report, it is recommended that you go ahead and print that or save that to a computer somewhere so you can access the identical report that you uploaded the data for. For the non-percentage-based measures, you're going to want to upload screenshots to show that you actually had those specific objectives enabled or turned on during the reporting period. So, for example, if you attested to having a drug formulary, you're going to want a screenshot that shows that you had enabled the drug formulary within the reporting period. They are also accepting letters from EHR vendors that state that you have had that specific objective met and enabled for the entire reporting period. And these are the non-percentage-based objectives are all the measures that you would have attested yes to meet meaningful use. All screenshots that you upload to support your attestation need to have your EHR system logo and date on them. And of course, no PHI is to be included unless it is sent to them through some kind of secure messaging. All of your screenshots should be saved as PDFs when uploaded, and if they're not self-explanatory as to how you got to that point, they suggest that you write a narrative at the bottom of the screenshots to identify each step in the workflow so that they don't have to guess as to where you got to what you're showing them. An example of a non-percentage-based objective would be the security risk analysis. That is one of the core measures that you would have attested to, and they're going to ask you to actually upload the document rather than a screenshot. So an EP must submit a report that documents the procedures performed during that analysis and the results. That report should be dated prior to the end of your reporting period, and it should include evidence that was generated for that specific provider system. So for example, on that security risk analysis, they're going to want to see this specific provider's NPI, a certification number for their EHR, the provider's name or practice or something along those lines that ties it directly to the provider that they are actually auditing. When the auditor is reviewing the documentation that you have submitted, there are specific criteria that they're going to be looking for. In regards to meaningful use, they're looking for numerators and denominators to match the numbers that you uploaded during attestation. They want to ensure that those numbers match identically. They also want to make sure that the report dates that you attested to are the dates on the reports that you're uploading to them. So they're going to be looking to match up dates as well as numerators and denominators. They're also going to be looking for the EHR logo on your reports. as well as your screenshots, which demonstrated how the reports were generated from your EHR. Stage 2 audit. The same criteria that applied in Stage 1 will also apply for Stage 2, submitting all of the general information, submitting all of the meaningful use reports and the screenshots. That all still applies in Stage 2. The only difference is you'll be giving the documentation for the new measures. Pre- and post audits will continue to be conducted. Prepayment audits will include random audits as well as audits that target suspicious data, and post-payment audits will still require supporting documentation to validate each EP's submission. Same stuff, new stage. What happens if you fail an audit? If an EP fails an audit in the Medicare EHR incentive program, they will receive the 2015 payment adjustment if they fail that audit for 2013. If you fail an audit, you do actually lose the program year you're participating in and the incentive, and you are subject to paying that back. An EP can appeal the final determination of their audit. You can appeal the incentive payment amount, your eligibility determination, support for AIU, or even the achievement of meaningful use. And each individual incentive program, the Medicare or the Medicaid incentive program, has different routes for pursuing that appeal. Just as a side note, EPs are subject to a payment adjustment, which is applied to the Medicare physician fee schedule amount for covered services if they don't attest to meaningful use in 2014. So audit aside, even if you don't participate in the meaningful use incentive program this year, you are subject to a 1% adjustment in the future. So keep that in mind, and that's something that the North Texas Rec or even the Centrise Rec can help you with if you have questions about that. Just a little note in addition to the audit penalty. How you can get support for audit services, or how you can get audit service support. The Centrise Regional Extension Center can help providers who have been audited in either the Medicare or the Medicaid EHR incentive program. We can help you communicate with your auditor and get those documents in line. If you have not been audited but you want to be prepared for an audit, we can also help you with that. We can put together an audit preparedness plan so that you have that documentation in the event that you are audited. We also offer services for meaningful use support and attainment for Stage 1 and Stage 2. And if you have any questions or you wish to reach out and attain those services, you can call the number on the slide or email Yvonne Sanchez, who is our program manager here at the Centrise Regional Extension Center. Thank you very much. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you, Cassidy. There's one question from the audience. It is, what do you do if your system won't produce a report that has all the information requested for the audit?
It depends on the information that your EHR will produce. There are certain things that the auditor will take, such as manually creating a report for patient volume. They consider that a modified report document, and they will take that as long as you can show screenshots as to how you got there. Like, for example, if you had to go into your practice management system and screenshot appointments and do the math yourself. So there are other ways to go about that. It would just depend on what your EHR won't produce.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have questions? I don't see any more questions. Well, in the meantime, we would like to give a mini advertisement about NordRec. Kathleen Munger from North Texas Regional Extension Center is here, and she's going to talk about the services they offer. So, Kathleen, if you want to talk.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Munger of the North Texas Regional Extension Center, and we assist in bridging your health practice, excuse me, health IT resources to practice needs going forward. High-quality custom technical consulting services can be pricey, as you all know. NTREC, as a vendor-neutral, nonprofit technology center established by the Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology, ONC, offers cost-effective packaged services to meet your specific needs, such as meaningful use in EHR implementation practices. As you know, MU is an evolving standard, growing increasingly robust as time goes on. If you reached MU in 2013 or prior, you'll need to stay on the path during the upcoming years in order to receive your next CMS EHR incentive payment. With upcoming years, in order to receive your next CMS EHR incentive payment, changing times in 2014, software requirements, ICD-10, Stage 2, and audits, etc. NTREC staff has the knowledge and expertise to assist with your bridging your health IT forward with EHR and workflow optimization, education, outreach, technical assistance, annual technical security risk assessments, SRAs. If you haven't done one this year, please call us and we can help you with that. We also assist with policy and procedures, business associates agreements, annual employee privacy and security training, meaningful use Stage 1, Stage 2, and gap analysis, continued assistance with MU attestation, CMS incentive audit readiness assessment. North Texas Regional Extension Center under the Dallas-Fort Worth Hospital Council Education Research Foundation is developing a physician data analytic program. NTREC is currently in the pilot program phase. If you wish to join a free pilot program, please contact one of our staff for availability. NTREC staff's combined knowledge along with being part of the ONC Regional Extension Center program gives us an advantage of understanding your specific needs. NTREC is here to help you bridge your health IT forward. Ultimately, our aim is to help increasingly quality care for patients, overall practice productivity, and improvement clinician quality of work-life balance through the meaningful use of the EHR system. We are physician-trusted, independent, nonprofit organization providing technical assistance, guidance, and information on best practices to support and accelerate clinicians' effort to become meaningful users of certified EHR technology. As one of our physicians, Dr. James W. Sorer, stated, NTREC's consulting work was critical and essential for this project to be so successful. I would be glad to review with any group the outstanding job NTREC did for us. Please give us a call with any of your needs. Kathleen Munger, my phone number is 469-648-5112, and my email is kmunger@ntrec.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Well, I don't see any more questions. So I want to thank our speaker for taking the time out of her busy day to share her knowledge with us. If you have any questions for today's presenter, please email Texas Rec using the email shown, and we will make sure you get an answer. Please join us next month for our next educational webinar in the series. We will be presenting EHR Medicaid registration, what's changed with Stage 2, and the differences between FQHC and group attestation. It's going to be on April the 2nd, and hope to see you there. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Goodbye.